Hello there everyone in the Real Schools community, it's Adam here with your June staff meeting conversation starter. I've picked up on a very strong theme in my conversations with teachers lately, and that is about the concern they have around the lack of empathy in our students that they're perceiving. It's not something that they're able to put a finger on and say that they think it's dropped by 15 or 20% or anything like that in the last few years, but it's something that anecdotally they're saying we're concerned, we're worried that our students are less able to be able to put themselves in the shoes of another person and understand the way that their behaviour might be impacting that other person. They're telling me that they think that our students are a little more self-centered, a little more self-obsessed than they perhaps were previously. So what today's conversation starter is about is how we begin to teach empathy to our students, no matter the age. So the first thing we need to think about is, first of all, why? Why do we want to teach empathy? Well, the first thing is that one of the things that I bet you're going to deal with this year is either the perception or the reality of bullying. A parent or a student is going to come and tell you that there's a bullying problem in your class or between some students that you're connected with. And while I would hate to disappoint you and tell you that you're wasting your time implementing programs, what we know about bullying is that it can't be fixed with a program on a Wednesday afternoon. It can't be fixed by making a poster about bystander behaviour. It can't be fixed by even spending time on things like buddy schemes. What actually fixes bullying is empathy. So it's being able to understand that you don't actually behave that way and affect other people so awfully because it makes you feel awful in turn. So the antidote, if you like, to bullying is empathy. But the other reason that we want our kids to be empathic is because it makes them employable. It means that once they actually get out into the workforce, they can understand with a level of sophistication that if they behave a certain way, they won't keep their job. And if they behave a certain way on the positive side, they're actually inclined to climb the ladder. So how do we do it? One of the first things we can do to build empathy is to start to expand with our kids their emotional vocabulary. So what I mean by that is that we have far too many students who in prep or in year one will tell us when they behave a certain way, and we ask them and confront them with how does that behaviour affect other people. They will say happy, sad and angry. And that's okay. At prep and year one we can kind of live with that. But once they get to year 6, or once they get to year 9, or once they get to year 11, that becomes a problem with us if they haven't expanded any further on happy, sad and angry. It reflects a low level of emotional intelligence. So very early in their schooling, what we can do is start to expose them to the idea that even that negative word in there of sad, that there are various types of sad. I could feel distressed, I could feel upset, I could feel frustrated, I could feel annoyed, and now I'm starting to actually get towards, on the other end of the spectrum, that angry. And kids need to know with some sophistication that their behaviour affects people in a variety of different ways, not just happy, sad or angry. What do we do to actually help them understand that their behaviour affects other people? One thing that we really need to do is to ask a lot of questions. Why do we do that? Because when we ask questions, we prompt thought. Just to answer our questions, our kids need to think about their behaviour, and only when they think about it are they likely to change that behaviour. So ask a lot of questions and don't fall for the trap that many of us fall for as teachers. I certainly have fallen for it, of being uncomfortable with silence. When I ask a student, how do you think that's affected that other child? Often they'll sit there and go, I don't know. And at this moment, there's a strong temptation in me to say, well, I'll tell you how you've made that other person feel. Don't do it. Don't fall for it. Sit there and look at that young person and say, well, I'll give you an extra moment to think about it, and stare them out. In that uncomfortable, awkward silence, they might actually begin to think about their behaviour, and only then are they going to actually get to the point of being able to change it. It's really important, and this is something that even our autistic kids can start to actually move towards actually having some sort of what we call cognitive empathy, because sometimes they're not so great at the intuitive empathy of being able to see other people's feelings in others' faces. But what we can do is have them understand that if I exhibit certain behaviours at a cognitive level, I can understand that it will make another person feel this way. And again, for them, even sometimes just getting that cognitive empathy going is a fantastic way of stepping over that employability threshold as they get older. I'd love to know what you think about teaching empathy, and I'd love to know what you can create in making empathy a cultural icon in your school.